Packers just got a double dose of bad news. No, I am not talking about the Jordan Love injury. That is the better of the scenarios we will cover in this video. If you are new and haven't subscribed, please help show your support by hitting that subscribe button. Okay, so let's jump into it. We all saw the injury Jordan Love sustained early in yesterday's game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was when he was rolling right. He kind of came down awkwardly on that knee. I feared the worst. I thought he re-injured that knee. The Packers get great news that it is a groin injury. Doesn't surprise me that it's a groin injury. Anytime you have a knee injury and you start favoring that, you're going to start hurting other parts of the body. Hence what I think happened to Jordan Love. It says right here, quarterback Jordan Love will undergo tests today, but there is optimism that he avoided a long-term injury. That is the best case scenario for the Packers. When we saw him kind of limping around out there, everybody thought that, okay, this dude re-injured his knee. That is not good, but the Packers get great news. They could even see him as early as this weekend against the Detroit Lions. Now, whether or not the Packers decide to rush him back against the Lions, they know they have an upcoming bye week, so they may want him to be 100% healthy, ready to go against the Bears and the San Francisco 49ers. Here's what Matt Lafleur said. He said, obviously, a high level of concern anytime a guy's in there like Jordan Love, and he goes out. He did it early on the first drive. I think everybody saw him struggling to move around, and it got to a point where we didn't feel like, and he didn't feel like he could protect himself, hence why the Packers got him out of the game. But man, when you start talking about who they had to turn to in Malik Willis, this dude is legit the best move of the offseason by any team. Here's what Forbes magazine had to say. It says the Packers trade for Malik Willis remains the NFL's best offseason move in 2024. It says through the first half of the season, the most important trade of the NFL season occurred August 26th when the Packers sent a 7th-round draft pick to the Tennessee Titans for quarterback Malik Willis. Who would have thought they would have had to have turned to him as early as week 2? They do that. They go and get some big wins against the Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts, and they do it with Malik Willis under center, and he has been turning some heads. The Packers, worst case scenario, they have to turn to Malik Willis. He's showed that he can go in there, he can step in and come up with some clutch plays. But here's when we start talking about the double dose of bad news. This is terrible news for the Packer fans. And a lot of you might be saying, man, this doesn't come as a shock. Jair Alexander is always hurt, but this dude was having a very, very good year. And we're coming up against a Detroit Lions team that we would need Jair Alexander out there. It says right here, Jair Alexander getting an MRI on his knee. Let's not forget that this is a dude that has had, again, a monster season. It goes on to say Alexander had a tackle, 2 passes defensed in the win. If you remember, he almost had a pick in the end zone in this last game. He has 16 tackles, 2 interceptions, 7 passes defense, and a fumble recovery, and 6 appearances this season. He's got a PFF score of 72.8. Again, almost had 3 interceptions. He has that fumble recovery. So Jair Alexander on the +3 in takeaways out there. This dude is looking super good. This is a massive loss for the Packers, especially with their upcoming schedule. Now, time is going to tell what this injury is. He has the MRI scheduled for today, so really hoping that the Packers don't get bad news there. And then also Evan Williams' injury couldn't have come at a worse time, it says right here in this article, and that is factual. The Packers have the Lions, a divisional game coming up. Packers had the best safety duo back there with Evan Williams and then Xavier McKinney. Xavier McKinney coming away with another takeaway, but the Packers have to shuffle things around, and now you're out without Jair Alexander, and you may have to look to Eric Stokes. That is bad news for the Packers because, well, let's take a look at the box score yesterday. The Packers, again, coming up with that big win. Who would have thought that McManus would have come away with 2? We would have had to lean into our kicker to get us 2 wins in a row. But Malik Willis did a great job driving down the field. Let's take a look at the numbers. Jordan Love, 14 of 22, 196 yards. Again, he didn't look comfortable. He looked to be in quite a bit of pain. He had that pick, that was a really good defensive play by the Jacksonville Jaguars to come up with that interception. But Jordan Love throws another pick in this game. No touchdowns, but he had 196 yards. He was going to throw for some touchdowns. I can guarantee that. Josh Jacobs, I love this dude because when you have to turn to this guy and say, hey, dude, we need you to go out and get us another win, he does that. Josh Jacobs taking the team on his back offensively, 25 carries, 127 yards, averaging 5.1, 2 touchdowns. He had that long 38-yard touchdown run. The dude is looking so good. Malik Willis doing it with his legs also, 4 carries for 23 yards. What a dual threat quarterback in Malik Willis. You don't know if you gotta cover him, if you gotta rely on the Packers to give it to Josh Jacobs, and then he'll get you over the top like he did with that pass to Jaden Reed late in the game, which set the Packers up for that game-winning field goal. The Packers playing Chris Brooks a lot. I would welcome back Marshawn Lloyd as early as possible. That would be fantastic, just to give you that 1-2 punch. I think Josh Jacobs and Marshawn Lloyd would be a great 1-2 punch out there. Tucker Kraft showing himself to be one of the better tight ends in the league, because he can not just kill you in the passing game, but he can block well. He's got 3 receptions for 78 yards and a touchdown. Romeo Dobbs, 3 receptions, 72 yards. That dude targeted 6 times. He did have that one drop, but he is looking so good, especially with all the drama that was surrounding him. Jaden Reed has been struggling over the last couple of games, but he comes up with that big reception. Targeted 3 times, came away with 2 receptions, 55 yards. Christian Watson, we knew he was going to be a part of the game plan a little bit more than what he has been. We got that tip early on last week, and he was targeted 6 times. He came away with 4 receptions for 39 yards. That's big. Dontavian Wicks, a little bit quiet, 2 for 11. But the Packers defensively, Devontae Wyatt comes away with that fumble recovery. Great to see him back out there. But Edrin Cooper, this dude is so good. I love it. Leave your comments. Let me know your thoughts. Are the Packers better without Quay Walker in there? They have kind of looked it over the last couple of games defensively with Edrin Cooper, Eric Wilson, and Isaiah McDuffie at the linebacker positions. Leave your comments. Let me know. Are the Packers better without Quay Walker? I would love to know what you guys think there. Xavier McKinney coming up with a huge play again. He had a pass defense, and then he had that interception. But Javon Bullard, a little bit disappointing in this game. There was a few missed tackles that I thought he should have had, which would have been, kind of momentum stoppers, but he wasn't able to do that. What did the Jacksonville Jaguars do? Well, Trevor Lawrence kind of had his way again. Anytime you lose Evan Williams and then you lose Jair at the end there, with Eric Stokes, he's been getting burned this season. So with Evan Williams out, the Packers have to shuffle things around, and they do that by relying heavily on Eric Stokes, and the dude just can't stop anything. Brian Thomas, 3 receptions, 60 yards. Christian Kirk, obviously both those guys get hurt in this game, but Trevor Lawrence getting it done through the air, 21 of 32, 308 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Again, Xavier McKinney coming up with that big pick, 6 on the year. Love it. Tank Bigsby was held at bay. This is a young stud, a young up and coming dude. I really like Tank Bigsby a lot, and he looks good. I thought the Packers stopped him, held him at bay quite good in this game. Trevor Lawrence, of course, getting it done with his legs with that touchdown scamper, 4 carries for 10 yards in that game. But the Packers, when we start looking at the takeaways, the Broncos have snuck up on the Packers, and the Packers and the Broncos are tied with 20 takeaways on the season, which is league leading. Great news for the Packers is that they continue to get takeaways in these games, and but bad news for the Packers is that Evan Williams and Jair may be out for this upcoming. I know Evan Williams for sure will be out against the Detroit Lions. But leave your comments. Are the Packers better without Quay Walker in there? Curious what your guys' thoughts are. And as always, go Pack, go.